So, welcome to Northern Powerhouses, our business success stories series of interviews, where we discuss with local business leaders their backgrounds, their successes, their challenges, and what's really driving them forwards. And this morning, I'm delighted to have with us Mel Canavan, who's founder director at M Canavan Consulting. So, Mel, thank you for spending a bit of time with us. And if you'd like to introduce yourself, your business, what you do, how you help people, that would be wonderful.
Thanks for having me. So I'm Mel. I'm a perimenopause coach and nurse and author. So I've been a nurse in the NHS for nearly 20 years, and I've been a trained coach for 5 years. And I wrote my first book last year, and
Wow,
I've nearly finished my second book. So I quit my job in the NHS last year. Um, Not really knowing what I was going to do, but I'm quite spiritual and I was just trusting the universe and believed that it would all come to me.
brilliant.
And then it came to me at the end of last year that I needed to focus on perimenopause and be a perimenopause coach because when I did leave, exposed myself to a lot of different environments. I was going to tech conferences, lots of business networking events, and I was having lots of conversations. And at these events, I was having conversations with women what were going through the perimenopause, but a lot of women actually don't realize they're going through the menopause because people see the menopause as a old people's, old
Yes.
women's thing,
Yeah.
what's
Okay.
out there.
Yep.
Um, and yeah, so from having conversations as well, there's a lot of women out there what are isolated and they don't have people to talk to about it.
Yep.
Um, Companies don't understand them neither with the symptoms, what can be impacting the life and impacting the work. So yeah, I thought this is what I'm supposed to do.
Brilliant. Brilliant. That's great. It's great. I was just talking to somebody this morning about finding your purpose and as you say, the universe delivered. So just for anyone that is watching that might be in that situation where they're not sure where they are, what are some of the things that you would typically have a conversation with somebody about the perimenopause?
Well, I think the most shocking thing, what people don't realize, and I didn't realize until I started doing the menopause workshop in the NHS and I was doing my research, that the menopause only lasts for 1 day. And
Right.
then after that, you're postmenopausal. But so the menopause is when you've gone 12 consecutive months without a period. So
Right.
it's retrospective, really.
Right.
So then when you've gone 12 months, that is the menopause. And then after that, your postmenopause. So leading up to that, your perimenopause, and that can go on for years for some people. Some people might miss a period for 9 months and then get the period back, and then they have to start again until they've gone 12 months.
Right.
So, in that time, people can be getting lots of different symptoms, not just hot flushes and things like anxiety, joint pains,
Yep.
uh, plantar fasciitis, people have been telling me lots of different things what you won't think of.
Yep.
So a lot of people are going through things and it impacts your quality of life, sleeping. So if you've not slept well and then you've got to get up for work and your brain fog, people can't function properly. The symptoms it can fluctuate. So you might have some symptoms, they might pass, and you might start with some other symptoms. But as well, a lot of women, um, people are thinking, am I, and then if you are thinking, am I, you probably are. But
Right.
it's because it's so, there's not really a test for it. You might go and
Yep.
have blood tests, but because your hormones fluctuate and they might be okay that day. So it's quite a difficult
Yes.
situation for people, really.
Yeah, yeah. I obviously I can only imagine. So forgive me for that. But it's I know it affects. It can be it can be quite can be very challenging, can't it? Going through the whole process, but pre and post can be very challenging to a woman.
Yeah, some people are lucky and they just sail through it, and that's great. But then there's other women who don't, and from my personal experience, because I'm perimenopausal and I didn't realize at first, even though I'd done menopause workshops for the NHS, and then I was questioning myself, and I was thinking, "Am I? No, you can't be." And then I realised that I was.
Right.
But I think as well, I've had lots of different isolated events. So if you don't put it together, then
Yes.
you're not realizing. But once you start to connect the dots
Yeah.
and think, oh, so if you're just seeing them as isolated events,
Yeah.
women don't really realize that they're going through that.
That makes a lot of sense. So, I mean, I'm interested to know what was it like going from employment in the NHS to leaving and starting your own business? How did that feel for you?
Well, even though I worked in the NHS, I were a bit different really because I guess I've been an entrepreneur for I don't know how many years because I'd actually quit my job in 2016, I think, and set up a social enterprise,
Right.
hoping that I'd get a contract with the NHS. So I quit my job and went for a 12-month contract in the hospital, hoping that by the end of it, I'd have a contract. And my mum were really worried, like, I've got a mortgage, single parent with kids. I was like, it's going to be fine. If it doesn't happen, I knew the hospital would let me stay on, and they actually did want me to stay on, but my social enterprise had got a contract. And that was quite unheard of in them days as well,
Brilliant.
but now the NHS does work with a lot of social enterprises, but in them days they didn't. So when I started that, the contract, it was for like a year and it just kept getting renewed and extended. But so that was a social enterprise, and our profits were reinvested back in, and we funded nurses to go on leadership programs and
Brilliant.
conferences. But then I decided to set up my own limited company. And so this is what I'm doing now, my own limited company. And this has been totally different to the social enterprise, because, that contract was for like a year. So with this, it feels a lot more scarier, if that makes sense.
Yes.
Um, not that regular, solid income. So I do have a plan and I am working towards establishing something more regular, whereas at the moment it's a bit hit and miss. So I'm still doing some nursing shifts. That's helping top up my
Right.
finances. But the vision is, I think, I don't know, part of me thinks, could I really get rid of nursing altogether? I think maybe I might still have to just do one day a week in the NHS just to keep me grounded and because I love the patients.
Why not?
But yeah, but I would like to do more. I'd like to get into corporate organizations rather than, one-on-one ladies, because
Yes.
in the NHS as well, I developed group coaching programs. So for
Oh,
stress, health related stuff, I developed a 4-week course, which my first book is based on.
right.
And that's about the power of the mind and self-care. And
Yep.
I evaluated that, and that changed people's lives.
Yes.
So I've got experience and knowledge of running group sessions, but obviously that's different to, I worked across 12 GP practices and I could send them all a text invite and people could come and they could come for free. I worked in quite a challenging area anyway,
Yeah.
so people are reluctant to uptake offers as well. If I'd have been in a more affluent area, all our programs, what we offered, they would have been flooded and bombarded. But we still got quite a number of people coming through. So I do have the knowledge and experience of group coaching and
Brilliant.
situations like that.
Brilliant. Brilliant. And looking back over, well, obviously last year, but also going back to, the last 9 years or so, what have been some of the biggest challenges you've had to overcome personally?
Personally, I think it's the mindset, because, being an entrepreneur, I think you've got to stay positive and you have a good vision and you'd like everything to go to plan. But life isn't like that, is it?
No, unfortunately not.
You come across different people or different obstacles are thrown in your way. You get ignored, all these different things. But I think it's important to have a strong mindset to
Yeah.
let things go over your head. I tell myself to trust the process, everything is happening for a reason. And when I look back on certain things, I am thankful that things happened the way they did
Yeah.
because I feel like you need the learning and the growth. If you got everything you wanted at that moment in time, I wouldn't have been ready, you
Yeah.
know. Um, yes, I think there's a lot of learning
Mm.
and patience. I think you need to have
It,
patience because,
it's an interesting one. I've heard a few people say we need drive and patience, and they sort of feel like they don't go together, but they do, don't they? It's like I've got to push forward, but I've also got to accept that while I'm pushing forward, it may take time. And I think that's a really interesting thing. But it always seems like the two they're almost opposite to each other.
yeah, and I think as well, some days you are going to have days where you're not motivated, and if you're not working in a team or you don't have to. You don't have your set rules. I have to be here at
Yes.
9 o'clock. I have to be there. You've really got to have commitment and
Yes.
dedication and motivation. You might not be motivated sometimes, but you still need to get up and do it no matter how you're feeling.
Absolutely.
Um, because you could really quite easily just get into laziness. I don't know, not laziness, but you could lose your
Yeah.
motivation.
Absolutely. It's interesting how, how disciplined, how much that sort of structured environment of going to work and having to work for somebody else gives us a level of discipline that when we don't have to work for somebody else, working for ourselves can disappear, can't it? It is something we need to work on.
Yeah, and I feel quite lucky actually because I've been on a women's entrepreneur program
Brilliant.
for the past 12 months. So that has been because obviously I've worked in NHS for all them years. I've been a part of a team ever
Yeah.
since I started work. And I love that. I'm a people's person. And then to leave last year and be on my own, it was like, oh, but because I was lucky to get on the women's entrepreneur program,
Brilliant.
co-working space. There's a WhatsApp group, events are organised. I've met some good friends. We can all
Brilliant.
ask each other for advice and support each other. So it does kind of feel like I am part of a team.
Wonderful. And I think you're aware we're a business coaching organisation. I'm keen to know who the best coaches you've worked with, whether that's business, sport, life in general. Who's had the biggest impact on you?
I think the biggest impact I've had is Lisa Clifford. Have you heard of her?
I think I have, yes.
So she does firewalks, and
Yes.
I met her at an event the end of last year, and she was doing a glass walk in a session, and I was like, I didn't even talk to her in that session, but I just felt this connection, and I thought I need to contact her.
Brilliant.
So I contacted her, and I was like, I need to learn what you just did, and she said, Oh, I don't just teach. Glass walking, you've got to do it's a whole course. You learn fire walking, rebar bending, all breaking the arrows. And I was just so naive. I was like, oh yeah, okay, then I'll do that if I have to do it. And so I signed up for this 6-day course where she teaches you to be a firewalking instructor. And again, I'd not really thought about it. I was naive and how I am as a person. I can't make like DIY furniture or out like that. I'm not, my brain doesn't do these things. So if I would have thought about it, I would have thought, oh yeah, well obviously someone's building a fire for me. But no, and then when I did think about it, well, who's going to build your fire when you're doing it on your own? So we had to learn how to build fires. And just that in itself from day one to when we'd finished, I really struggled, but it were really good how everything worked, seeing yourself how you are. Um, so I did cry a bit and get frustrated, and it was just really interesting to see yourself. And then by the end of the 6 days, because you want just going to learn how to build a fire or firework, it was so spiritual and
Mm,
healing and transformative and allowing your fears to come up because we all have fears, don't we? And
yeah.
even, my fear of being seen. I realized not long before that I had a fear of being seen, but I realized I had to put myself out there. I wouldn't have done a podcast or anything like this before.
Amazing.
But yeah, I know that I have to start doing stuff like this. And I said, I've got a fear of being seen. I don't know what it is. And, after a few days, we'd done a fire. And that night I went to bed and a vision was shown to me. And it was when I was 5, coming out of an optician's with an eye patch on. And I was paranoid, thinking everyone was staring at me. And then another vision was shown when I was 5 at school. At 12 o'clock, the patch could come off, and everyone would stand around me like they'd never seen it before. And every day they'd go, oh, wow.
Oh, wow.
Um, and that's where my fear of being seen came from. But when it
Goodness.
came up, yeah, and I could,
Goodness.
acknowledge it and deal with it and let it go.
Yep.
So now I'm trying to put myself out there as much as I can. But yeah, so that's just one thing, but really transformative because
Brilliant.
you need to be visible in business, don't you?
Yes, well, yes, really. There's no way around that. I'm afraid it's what it is, and obviously, I mean, I'm sure you've learned a lot about yourself so far. What would you say are the key things you've learned about yourself throughout your journey so far, Mel?
I guess the key things about myself is that I'm resilient. You know, my journey just from the start of my career, I'd left school and I didn't have any GCSEs and because I used to leg school and I used to be naughty and I came from an area what it's not very good. A lot of people are in prison, in jail or dead. I could have quite easily gone down them paths. Then I got on my pre-nursing course. Luckily, I didn't know what I wanted to do. Well, I started off at did you know the Yorkshire Post training? What used to be at the Yorkshire Post building? There were a college
Yes.
in there. So
Yeah.
I started off there and they
Oh,
taught you
brilliant.
type and you got a work placement and everyone got like insurance companies, banks, and I got the bacon factory, so I cried. I thought, why do I go there? But I actually enjoyed it because it was family run and they were really looked after you. But I
Yep.
thought, oh, I can't do this forever. And I went to a careers office and they told me about this new course what were coming out. It were a nursing cadet course where you did your MVQs level 3, so at 2 and 3. So I did my maths alongside that. And then we got an interview at uni. And then I got in at uni and I was scared and I thought, I can't go to uni. So I took a year out and went traveling. Then I came back, started uni. I was there for a year or something and got pregnant. So I had to step off. Everyone told me just to have an abortion because I won't go back, but I had my baby. Then I went back and found out I was pregnant again. So I had to take another year off and then I went back.
Yes.
So that took a lot of years to even train to be a nurse. And then just throughout the years, like it was not easy having 2 young kids, and I
No.
were a single parent and night shifts and things like that. So
Amazing.
yeah, I think it's resilience, not giving up. People, well, I had different people in my year. Why don't you
Yeah.
just quit your job? Why don't you just give up? And that's not really a good attitude to give people, is it? But that's what I had. But the more I guess people didn't believe in me or didn't want me to do things, the more it gave me the fuel and energy to
Brilliant.
prove people wrong or well not even prove people wrong, just do it for myself. I needed to do it for my
Brilliant.
kids as well. So yeah.
Wonderful. What a great story. So, and so looking forward now, what does the future look like for you? And what challenges do you think you might face, if any?
The future for me. So, as I said earlier, I'm just about to finish my second
Yes.
book. So this one is focused on the perimenopause, but it's going to be a coaching book. I'm very I like things to be simple and easy for people to
Yeah.
understand. So the book what I'm making, it's kind of like a journal, but I have got different doctors and nurses involved for different specialities like sleep, nutrition, mental health. There's all the different topics. And as in the NHS, we can be evidence-based and everything needs to be referenced. And yep, I agree with that, but I'm going to put all the references at the back. I don't want it in the text. I just want it simple for
Yeah.
people to read. And then after that, there's coaching questions so they can come up with a plan of ideas how they can help themselves, what they can implement. So that is nearly finished. I'm just going to publish that. But I've done that because I want that to complement an online course and I want to create a community.
Yeah.
So the online course is going to have like videos of all the different expert speakers talking in depth about their topic. So this book is to complement that, but anyone will be able to read it. They don't have to do the course. So I wanted that to be accessible for everyone.
Yeah.
And I've just summarized what they'll be talking about in the course.
Yeah.
So, yeah, so once I've finished this, then I'm going to start making the online course. And um, as I said, I want to get into corporate organizations, working with groups of people, because I
Brilliant.
just think it's got more of an impact rather than
Yeah.
individual one-on-one. Um, so I think I might start today, but I'm going to write my third book. And
Wowzers.
I'm going to write that about business
Great.
because I have learned so much. Like, even though I said I've been an entrepreneur for all these years, I feel like this past, however long it's been, 16 months, has been really tough. But I have learned so much about lots of different things, and I feel like I need to summarize it and write it in a book for people, what just like myself. I was never business minded, I'm when I run my social enterprise, there was two of us. My best friend Sarah, she's a nurse as well, and we really complemented each other. We were like yin and yang. I'm the one who's the visionary, the big dreamer. I like going out networking, and my mind's all just, Whereas she was really grounded, organized. She dealt with all the finance stuff. Just um the total opposite, but we worked really well. Obviously, now I have to do everything myself.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, I've learned so much and done lots of
Brilliant.
different courses, and that I just feel like I need to summarize it all and write a
Great.
simple book for people what are interested. Whether people are interested or not, I don't know, but at least if I've shared and if people can learn a lot quicker than what I
Yes.
learned.
Absolutely. It's helping people short circuit, isn't it? Brilliant. Oh, I'm sure
Mhm.
that'll be very, I'll look forward to reading that when it comes out. That's going to be absolutely wonderful. Um, and final question, what would be the best advice you could give an 18-year-old you if you could go back in time and do that, Mel?
Oh, well, I was just about to say, don't make life hard for yourself. Well, 18-year-old, I'd have done my GCSEs by then. But if I could go back to a younger version and say, you know, do all your studying and GCSEs because I were in all top sets at school. I wasn't thick anyway. I could have got really good exam
Yep.
results and I could have been a qualified nurse by 21 instead of 28.
Yep.
But then if I did say that to my younger version of myself, I wouldn't be the person who I am today. I would not have experienced everything what I've experienced.
Yep.
I'd be a totally different person. So what would I actually say to myself? I don't know. Because um I do believe everything had to happen how it did and how it should. Um because who knows what my life would be like, but I do actually enjoy my life and I love my life and
It
yeah.
it's that sliding doors moment, isn't it? Is if anything changes, then the end product might change, and that's if we like where we are, then we don't want anything to change really, even the stuff that wasn't so much fun as at the time.
No, going through it, I probably wouldn't have said that because, I've gone through a lot. And sometimes, when you just want to give up and, oh, it's just so hard and you've had enough. I wouldn't have said that then. I'd have been like, Mel, you should have made sure you got your GCS at school and make sure you just did what, the plan, what people say to do. Yeah, I would have said that then. But right about now, I don't know what advice I'd give myself.
Well, yeah, one to think about, but I agree with you. I think, if you gave yourself advice and it changed your life in any way, and that means you're not here right now, then that might not be the best thing. So it's a double-edged sword for sure. Um, Mel, it's been fascinating talking to you this morning, this afternoon. So thank you so much for your time. And for anyone that's interested in getting in touch with you or learning more about your coaching and your courses that you're running, or your book, or your books, what's the best way of contacting you?
I've got a website, so that's mcanavanconsulting.co.uk. I'm also on LinkedIn, Melissa Canavan, and I've been pushing myself on social media. So I have a Facebook page called Looking After Me. That's the name of my first book. And on Instagram, I'm Mel Can Coach.
Mel can coach, love it, brilliant. Um, as I say, it'd be great to swing by another 6, 12 months to just see how things are developing for you, and learn what you've learned about your third book, and maybe we can talk about that at that point. But for now, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you.